Yo, it's DJ Skandalous here, and we're back with another episode of Skandalous Talk. We're going to break down some more Tupac and Nas news, some hip-hop 90s news. Let's get it. So we peep in this article here on VladTV.com. Title reads, Nas says that Tupac copied his QB chain. So Nas copied Tupac's Thug Life tattoo. So scrolling down here, the article goes on to say that recently Nas dropped his latest album, The King's Disease, which you can find on iTunes, YouTube Music, Spotify, everywhere. And this album features Lil Durk, Don Toliver, and a reunion between himself and The Firm, Foxy Brown, AZ, and Cormega. On one of the tracks titled The Cure, Nas spoke about him and Tupac and how they copy elements from each other during their career. On his song, Nas rap, Pac's on the chain, got his medallion, I won't insinuate imitation cause I copied his stomach. Nas noted that Tupac's Euthanasia chain was a copy of his QB medallion, which he sported in the mid-90s. Nas says that he doesn't view Pac's chain as an imitation of him, and he went on to say that he copied Tupac's Thug Life stomach tattoo with his godson tattoo, which he got years later after Tupac's passing. Alright, so now let's go to Google to check this shit out. If you guys are listening on my podcast, on Tupac Music Podcast or Skandalous Talk, be sure to check out my Skandalous Talk YouTube channel for a video version of this podcast. So here's the image of the QB chain that you can find online if you just type in Nas QB chain on Google search. Now the chain that Nas is talking about is the actual chain that Tupac wore in the video version of Toss It Up. Tupac actually only got this chain around September 2nd of 1996. So Tupac only got to wear this chain for that video and for the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City. So roughly only about 4 days he actually got to wear that chain. Now if you guys are familiar with my YouTube channel or whatever, on DJ Skandalous YouTube channel, I have another video in there where Nas talked about the last confrontation that he had with Tupac Shakur after the MTV Video Music Awards, in which him and Pac had a confrontation in Central Park, and he broke down what actually happened. So a quick breakdown of that video, Snoop Dogg actually talked about this situation a couple times in various interviews with Vlad TV and other outlets as well. And Snoop went on to say that Nas was rolling 100 deep and everybody was strapped on his side, but Pac was completely oblivious to the whole situation. And he also said that no one else was strapped on Pac's side. However, Nas clarified the whole situation and said that both sides were strapped, and this is the same thing that Napoleon from the Outlaws and Reggie Wright Jr., the chief of security at Death Row, also said. So the reason why I bring that up is this is probably the time that Nas actually seen the Euthanasia chain in person, because Pac was rocking that at the MTV Video Music Awards. So Nas seen that right up close in person right before Pac got shot a couple days later. So when you go look at Nas's videos to see when he actually started wearing this chain, if you look at If I Ruled the World, he actually has a small medallion. It's not even on the same size as the QB chain or the Euthanasia chain. However, when you look at the Street Dreams music video, you actually see a larger chain in which Nas is referring to. So when we look at this chain, the only thing I think it has in common is they're both big giant medallions. The chain is not attached to the medallion in the same places as Tupac's and Nas's. Nas's version actually has a piece on top of his medallion which actually connects to the chain, whereas Tupac's version connects to the actual medallion itself. So the reason why I made this whole video is everyone's talking about how Pac copied Nas. Now there's a good chance that actually Tupac was inspired by Nas because Tupac was a genuine fan of Nas. Like I said in my other video and my other podcast, is that when Tupac got shot, he was actually bumping the Nas album It Was Written. And it's also common belief that Tupac and Nas squashed their beef in Central Park, and they were set to actually record together for the One Nation album that Tupac was working on, which was the East Coast West Coast collaboration type album that was going to be released at the end of 97, early 98. Alright, so now we're going to go over some examples as to why I think maybe that Pac didn't copy Nas. Now, like I said, it's as real as it gets. You're going to get raw and cut. You know, I do these podcasts, I do these news videos, and I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to give you my personal opinion. If you want that horse shit where they just tell you the news and they don't give you their opinion, they want you to decide, you can go elsewhere. But with my videos, I'm going to tell you guys the facts. I'm going to tell you guys some stories, and you guys can make your own conclusion. So when Tupac was actually interviewed at the MTV Video Music Awards, Tupac said, I'm trying to bring 1989 back. I was broke in 89. Plus they had me in jail for a year for a crime I didn't commit. They locked me in chains, so I'm going to put a chain on. So this reference probably went over everybody's head. So when you refer to the 1980s, the big time artists of that decade had big gold chains on. Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, Eric B. So when you look at Eric B and Rakim, you'll see that they all have big gold chains on with a large gold medallion. And when you look at Eric B's chain, it looks very much like Tupac's Euthanasia chain. And this is because Eric B's version actually has an eagle on it, while Tupac's has the Angel of Death. So the Angel of Death has wings, very much like an eagle. So I think it's very well possible that Tupac was also inspired by Eric B and Rakim. Tupac gave praise to Eric B and Rakim on the song Old School, for his 1995 album Me Against the World. Also, Tupac even references Eric B on the unreleased song If They Loved Their Kids, which he recorded at Death Row Records. And it's also common belief that Eric B was actually working for Death Row around the time that Tupac Shakur got shot. Eric B was actually supposed to manage Death Row East, the record label, which his first artist was supposed to be Craig Mack. So Death Row East was going to be an offshoot of Death Row, but with East Coast artists. And here's the actual close-up of Eric B's equal chain. So I think there's a strong case that Tupac was also inspired by Eric B and Rakim, and that's why he referenced 1989. Also, Tupac was very much changing his style during his Death Row days, but it's kind of crazy because Tupac always evolved his style as time went on, but so many versions of his style are now fads and trends. You know, Tupac brought in the bandana era. You know, you could say, well, Ice Cube did that too, but Tupac tied it up front, and we've seen so many other rappers imitate that style. Tupac also wore a lot of snapbacks a lot, and he wore the snapbacks with the hat backwards, such as wearing it for the Poetic Justice movie, as well as other music videos and live performances such as Out of Bail at the Source Awards. And you can find so many pictures of Tupac wearing a snapback with the hat backwards. And so many other artists did this more recently, such as Big Sean. And Tupac also had that Gumby hairstyle, which, you know, Soulja Boy actually copied that too several years ago. And then by the time that Tupac was on Death Row Records, he was more getting involved with Versace, suits and ties, wearing slacks, a more professional look. I think this was because not only was he mostly on top of the, you know, hip hop Mount Rushmore at that time, the biggest rapper in the world at that time, but also he was getting more heavily involved in acting, as well as politics, trying to make a movement for a change, you know, trying to get a Pop Warner Football League off the ground in Los Angeles, in California, and also have movies such as Baby Boy, Star Wars, the Three Strikes movie, possibly on the horizon. Now, there's the main reason why I brought up Versace, because there's this article on Vogue which breaks down Tupac's appearance at the Versace fashion show in 1996. So in this article, Gianni Versace actually invited Tupac Shakur to walk in his fall-winter 1996-1997 show. A few months before his untimely death at the age of 25 on September 13, 1996, Tupac came down the Versace runway in Milan alongside girlfriend Kidada Jones, dressed in a gold velvet suit from the collection, and launched into a performance of his iconic hit California Love, which set the crowd on fire. And here's a clip of that right here. Tupac also referenced Versace in the song Hit 'Em Up, where he basically claims that Notorious B.I.G. was copying his style in regard to wearing Versace. Now here's the main reason why I bring that up. When you type in the terms Versace Medusa head in Google search, you'll find several chains and pendants and medallions here that look very much like Tupac's Euthanasia chain. You'll see that it has the same shape, it has the same protruding type logo, and the same location for the diamonds around the actual pendant as well. So I think it's very well possible that maybe Tupac was not inspired by Nas, but he was more inspired by his involvement with Versace, or possibly Eric B and Rakim. And let's be real, Nas actually copied more than just the stomach tattoo. Tupac also wore a lot of leather on Death Row, such as what you can see on the All Eyes on Me photo shoots. And this was something that Nas started doing around 98, 99. And then he also got his chain rehashed and remade, which then looked more like Tupac's Euthanasia chain, more than the original. Alright guys, so I know this was kind of like a long one. I just want to break it down because I see so many videos here saying that Tupac copied Nas. And like I said, it's very well possible that he could have been inspired by Nas or seen the actual Street Dreams video. So yeah, he could have been inspired by Nas, but he also could have been inspired by Eric B, Rakim, or Versace for that gold chain, or Big Daddy Kane. Alright guys, so drop your comments below. It's time for that outro. You know what time it is. This has been your boy, DJ Skandalous, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ. And I'll catch all you busters on the flip side. We out. Deuces.
She's so scared.